So for the last, I reckon about 3 weeks, it's been really hot and sunny here in the UK, which is interesting because for a lot of people that I've been speaking to, they've said it's made them lethargic, it's made them sleepy, it's made it difficult for them to remember what they wanted to talk about. So on today's video, I thought I would share a little snippet about the out there advantage, which is the very first piece of the Queen of Being Seen's visibility vibes system. So what is this and why am I talking about it? Today, I thought I would actually delve deeper into, get my words out, why people need to pay attention to this. So many people I speak to are either just getting started, so they feel like they're not far enough along yet, or they're already in programs studying all sorts of things from different social media platforms, how to, leverage TikTok, for example. Maybe they're looking at getting more leads into their business, marketing, copywriting, different things like that. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is they try and tack the visibility piece onto the thing they're doing. Now, the reason why this doesn't work for them is because they're looking at learning a specific skill. And the reason it doesn't work for the person that's teaching them, maybe the coach, the person that's training the program, the mentor, however they want to describe themselves, the guide, is because they have an absolute zone of genius sharing the thing that they're sharing. And when they add visibility onto it, just because a person has been visible themselves doesn't necessarily have them be a great teacher in helping you to be visible. I could sit there and throw out all the lines of post more often, comment on people's stuff, increase engagement, let people know about what you do, let people know about who you are. And all of that is important, all of that matters and all of that works. But it's the pieces underneath that often stop people. And that's why I wanted to talk about kind of like what it costs us not to be able to put our stuff out there. So I've been doing this since 2010, so 15 years. And towards the end of this year, it'll be going into my 16th year. And one of the things that I notice, and I say quite often, anywhere where anyone's listening, is that visibility is an inside job. I actually say two things: your voice matters, number one, and visibility is an inside job. And what I mean by that is, I've worked with people who've been very well known. A lot of people know about what they do. A lot of people know about their brand, their products, their services. Yet there's something inside them that stops them from putting themselves out there. And what happens in a lot of the programs is a lot of other mentors and coaches who are brilliant at doing other things will tell them that they've just got to get on and do it. Stop procrastinating, stop thinking about it. Don't believe in imposter syndrome and get out there and do it. So by the time people come to me, if they've been in one of those programs, they feel like they haven't learned anything. They feel like they're not good enough. They feel like they were the only person in the class that didn't get it. And often they do, but the thing that stops them from putting themselves out there is the act of being visible. Now, this video will be far too short for me to dive into the 101 ways that this could affect people. So people will tell me things like they were asked what they do and they went to talk about what they do and they rambled. And then they spent a lot of time wishing that they'd said it differently, wishing that they said it better, watching as the confused look crept across the person's face they were speaking to, and wishing that they could kind of have a do-over. Or they'll say that they quite like public speaking, but when it comes to sharing their products and services, they don't know what to share. Now, the nuance for me that I noticed very early on in my visibility journey as somebody helping people to be more visible, it didn't matter whether the person was well known or established. It didn't matter whether they were just getting started, like a startup. It didn't even make any difference whether they had been doing it for a while and then they decided to pivot or change. And I saw a lot more of this in the pandemic as well. One of the underlying things is that the people that I tend to work with, and at first it was like a happy accident, it wasn't intentional, But a lot of the people that I work with have got more than one string to their bow. So when they've worked in other programs or gone to sort of classic marketing, they're always told niche down or just pick one thing and do that. And they can't. In fact, the act of them trying to be visible and put their work out there when they do a couple of different things, and it might seem different to the average person, but for me, I always find the thread, the string. When they get told that, it's like tying someone's arms, putting them in a straitjacket, restricting their movement. And what I saw in front of me were when people were asked to pick one thing, niche down, no, it's not niche enough, they'd literally lose the ability to speak. And I know that the reason they did that was because they'd already lost their ability to think about how to talk about what they do. So the speaking part, the articulation, the typing it out, the posting it on social media, the putting it on their website became really confusing for them. So when I started my business, I was training and coaching on one hand, making cakes and chocolates on the other. I kid you not. I actually stopped the cake making and the chocolate making in 2012. So I understand firsthand how difficult that could be. When you're multi-passionate and people keep telling you just to choose one thing, you then make yourself wrong. You make yourself, you kind of judge yourself for doing too many things. You tell yourself that you don't have focus, and it's very similar to what I'm seeing with ADHD at the moment. A lot of people I know have been late diagnosed, and there is some research somewhere that says once you've been given a label, it doesn't say it like this, I'm saying it the Jenny way, you kind of lose yourself in that diagnosis for a little while, then it settles, and then you start putting yourself out there even more. So even if you are ADHD, I've had plenty of clients that have come to work with me with that. I've had lots of clients that have never been to university. I've had lots of clients that have done a number of things and struggled to put it out there. And when we've gone through, I would say more mentoring with slight coaching to uncover what's going on underneath the bonnet, they've had clarity literally in a second. I remember the first time it really hit me how important this is for you to know this was when I was working with somebody. They'd been doing some stuff for a while and they were doing things like breath work. They also were helping people with their sobriety. And there were a couple other things they were doing along the lines of coaching and wanting to put workshops out there. And they just felt like every time they spoke about it, it was too confusing for people. People didn't get it. When we went and found the thread that ran through everything, and for some reason, I think I'm gifted in hearing it and seeing it really quickly. When we did that, they were able to go away and they came back to the next session saying, oh my gosh, everything's popped into place. I now know what I can write my books about. I know what I can teach in the workshops. I know what I can speak about when I go out there, so I can now put myself out there for speaking gigs. I know what to say on video. I know what to share on my social media channels, and I know what to put on my website. All of that from that thread. And this is why I call this the out there invisible advantage. Sorry if you can hear trains in the background. As I say, it's a hot day, windows are open and all sorts of things are going on. But this is the reason why it's important that you find out what your advantage is. And that's why in the very first part, the very first pillar of the visible and out there advantage, we go deep into what has you be visible. What is liberating for you? What difference do you make in the world? Who are your who's? Again, you'll have more than one ideal client, but who are they? Again, when we sit there and we try to imagine who they might be, we add an extra kind of brick wall to ourselves, which makes it harder for us to reach in and speak with credibility, with conviction, with passion about what we do. So if you're looking to find out what your golden thread is, then somewhere around this video will be an Out There Invisible call. It's complimentary. I'll ask you some questions and see what's the best next move for you. That's it. Bye for now.